Bill and Ted's excellent video game adventure was released for the NES in 1991 and developed by, surprise, LJN. It takes the game quite a long time to explain its own story and get things going. I will do so in less than 20 seconds. Rufus goes back in time to enlist the aid of Bill and Ted to thwart the efforts of time rebels who are misplacing historical figures in time, yet for some reason the historical figures love this, so Bill and Ted must gather historical bait to lure them back to their correct times, thus thwarting the efforts of the time rebels to prevent the creation of a late 80s, early 90s garage band. The very first thing that you do in this game is flip through this phone book of historical figures, trying to determine which of these historical figures has been kidnapped by time rebels. Once you find that, you determine what number you need to dial to actually get into the game. All you have to do is dial the number that you found, and then you can enter the circuits of time. Which looks something like this. Huh. Well, there's something you're supposed to do here, involving numbers and tubes, a red circle. Huh. Anyways, this is what the actual game looks like. It seems like an adventure game, but you're not really given any direction to start with. And the first two things I noticed are the controls are awkward but not game-breaking, and for some reason you're just not allowed to walk on the grass. So, since it seemed like an adventure game, I thought, okay, well, let's go see what the locals have to say. Maybe they can give me some direction, because the game sure as hell isn't. There are only three types of people in this game. Helpful people who stand around, muggers who walk around, and medieval child molesters, who just keep chasing you. And when they touch you, the next thing you know is you just wake up in jail. The worst part is, you're going to be seeing the inside of this jail cell, and these guys, a lot, because they are all over this game. And there are going to be times where there's no way you can get out of the situation without getting touched and going to jail. It's been quite some time, and talking to the locals hasn't given me any clue as to what I'm really supposed to do. They've given me shiny coins, firecrackers, pudding, textbooks, cassette tapes. They've told me to screw off, but they haven't given me a clue as to what I'm supposed to do. So far, all I've determined is that the map is huge. Eventually, I did find a clue. There's something strange down south. That doesn't even help on this map. That's worthless. The clues are all things like down south or the last fence, and what they really mean for you to do is jump into things like trees, rocks, bushes, or fences, because those might be the locations of historical bait. But because they're so vague, you're just going to find yourself jumping into everything that you find that you might even remotely suspect as being the location of bait. And eventually, something like this occurs. You get stuck. It takes all that effort to get to this point, and then you just get stuck. Well, all you can do is head back to the circuits of time. Eventually, just jumping into every item due to the vague clues has to pay off. And of course it does. Just jumped into this fence randomly and found my first bit of historical bait. And an Uzi. Yep. An Uzi in the hands of Bill and Ted Keanu Reeves. No, that works. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Eventually I did find a canoe, which would be awesome if I could just get in the damn canoe. Just can't seem to land in this intangible canoe. I just hope this thing is worth it.
Excellent!
Also, there's a horse. Everything I've shown you so far has come from the first level of the game. So you may be wondering, what's the rest of it like? Well, pretty much... well, not pretty much. It's exactly the same as the first level. Trees become teepees, grass becomes sand, it has the exact same play style, everything's the same. You still can't walk on the grass, NPCs still have the same dialogue, and you still go to the same jail. Considering who developed this isn't surprising at all. This is exactly the sort of shortcutting that LJN would take. Heck, even this area where you meet Rufus before the level begins, it's just an area ripped out of the level. They just recycled as much as they possibly could for this game. Now, Bill and Ted is an LJN game, and at this point there's very few people out there who would pick up an LJN game and think, hey, look, this might be pretty good, let's give this a shot. But even for an LJN game with pretty visible flaws, there's this one thing in Bill and Ted that just keeps happening over and over. No matter where you are, no matter what level, that is inexcusable. In Bill and Ted, you just keep falling down. Constantly. Always. Forever. Bill and Ted. It's a game about falling down.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.